Joining us now is OjyOkpe, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinex.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Hope you had a
the
great
lady
time.
In red.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you love these colors. Good morning, beautiful Ayo. How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. Welcome back from your French-speaking country. What was that? Abidjan?
Abidjan, yeah.
Well done, Rufai.
Thank you, Oji. Is there any man that doesn't love a lady wearing red?
Yes, and I love that song, Lady in Red. Well, all right.
Shall I sing it?
No,
okay.
Not today, on Friday. Welcome. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, former Vice President Mike Pence, who announced on Wednesday that he is running for president, offered his most forceful repudiation of Donald Trump to date during a speech launching his 2024 campaign. The former Indiana state governor accused Trump of being unfaithful to the U.S. Constitution and of abandoning conservative values.
But the American people deserve to know that on that day, President Trump also demanded that I choose between him and the Constitution. Now voters will be faced with the same choice. I chose the Constitution, and I always will.
In the Netherlands, 88-year-old Felician Kabuga, who had been accused of being a major financier of the 1994 Rwandan genocide, was declared unfit to stand trial on Wednesday by a United Nations Crimes Court. Medical experts say Kabuga suffers from severe dementia. He was arrested in Paris in 2020 after evading capture for 26 years. At the time, he was said to have been Rwanda's richest man and is alleged to have financed ethnic Hutu militias who slaughtered about 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Kabuga denies the charges. In Rwanda, President Paul Kagame has sacked more than 200 soldiers, including the defense minister and army chief. At the same time, the move comes a day after the president reshuffled top military officers in the wake of the heightened tensions between Rwanda and neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, each side accusing the other of working with rebels to topple one another's government. In Nigeria, there was jubilation after the former Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, George Akume, assumed duty as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation on Wednesday. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administered the oath of office on Akume as the 21st SGF at the Presidential Villa. Akume resumed at his office in Abuja immediately after the brief ceremony and was ushered in with a performance from a local band. Under sports, Nigerians on Twitter have praised Arsenal football star Bukayo Saka for his trip to Nigeria, with his latest visit being to Kwara State. The 21-year-old star, who recently signed a new deal to stay at Arsenal until 2027, was born in London to Nigerian parents and has been in the country for almost a week, meeting with the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and family members, including his grandparents, in Kwara State. Taking to Instagram, the footballer, who is now said to be ranked the third most valuable player in the world, posted a video thanking Nigerians for the warm welcome he has received. Finally, under entertainment, late hip-hop legend Tupac Shakur received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Wednesday, just 8 days before his posthumous birthday on June 16. The late rapper's sister, Sekiwa Set Shakur, accepted the star on behalf of their family. During her speech, she shed tears while describing her older brother's vision of being celebrated with a star in Hollywood.
From the first time he stepped foot on the stage of the Apollo Theater at 13 years old, before anyone recognized his name, he knew he had the dream to have a star here on the Walk of Fame.
Amazing. Well, let's begin what's trending. As Nigerians continue to grapple with the grim effect of the subsidy removal, a group of oil marketers who visited the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday announced their intention to donate between 50 to 100 mass transit buses to help cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. The announcement is coming as the President directed the National Economic Council, led by Vice President Kashim Shettima, to devise an approach and begin the process of working on intervention to mitigate the impact of subsidy removal on Nigerians.
We're going to work at providing real mass transit buses that work. The ones that will run on CNG, which is the compressed natural gas and diesel, interchangeably. And hopefully we're going to start with about 50 to 100. And that is in the very, very short term. And these are locally produced. So you see that we're also providing jobs, a lot more jobs, because we're using local assembly plants. We're not importing this.
I believe I heard you guys talk about this earlier today. I think this is a fantastic idea. I do think that other state governors should adopt the same method that Babajide Sanwo-Olu has adopted here in Lagos. I think that we do need help with the mass transit buses, as well as, we do need private sector investors to continue to help with government to help cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. Well, in the meantime, motorcyclists in Cameroon have reportedly protested the removal of the petrol subsidy in Nigeria since the announcement of the subsidy removal by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. During his inaugural speech, there's been reports of the adverse effects in neighboring countries like Cameroon, Ghana, Benin Republic, and as far as Sudan, as countries have reportedly relied on the smuggle of petrol from Nigeria over the years. In a video that has now gone viral, commercial motorcyclists in Garoua Cameroon were seen expressing their dissatisfaction with the petrol subsidy removal in Nigeria and warning the people of Cameroon that transportation will increase since access to Nigeria's oil has become difficult, while criticizing Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Rufai, I'm coming to you on this story. I know you just came from Abidjan, but you know that is the story that has been out there. The fact that our petrol has been smuggled to neighboring countries, and you can see there that they are threatening. And I think, this is also a plus to the subsidy removal at this point. This is what we're supposed to be seeing. Absolutely.
Oji, I am happy that they are feeling the pain in Cameroon. Because what they've been doing, they've been exploiting theft.
Absolutely.
Our tankers are driven across the border to places like Garoua, and Garoua is just close to one of the northern Nigerian states, just over the border, and they are driven there, and our fuel is sold, and they are using our fuel while we are frittering away our national cash that we ought to use for our economy, and we are using it on them. We can't be subsidized for West African nation. We've done too much for them already. There are people like here as illegal migrants, and some of them, and they are working and benefit from our economy. I think that should be enough. So nobody can make the argument that removal of subsidy is not good. But the problem is just the planning. And it segues into the conversation about CNG. Yes, we should now see how we can grow the automotive sector, how we can get more people to work in there, because we need to grow our economy. And like I keep saying, no palliative that we are going to put now that is going to be able to cushion the effect. The most important palliative is economic growth. If this economy starts to grow, we get a lot of people working, we bring them out of poverty. That's when we can have a true cushioning of effect. But I'm happy that they are protesting. I'm sad to say that their pain now is my joy in Cameroon. Because you know what? Their joy before used to be our pain here, because they were stealing from our resource in connivance with some of our own Nigerians, that they should be disgraced and they should be ashamed of themselves. But anyway, we gave them the chance to steal because the arbitrage was so much. And like somebody used to say, it is when you give the thief an opportunity to steal, he will steal. But we've cut all of that out now. Then how can we ply back our economy and increase our economy? Because when you look at it, they don't have this commodity. They do not have the refineries. So maybe when we set up more refineries, we'll be able to sell to them too, and they will buy at premium. Like you were saying, I was in Abidjan, and the per liter is 850. 850 CFA. Hope you even know that the CFA, the economy of Nigeria has gone so bad that the CFA is ahead of Nigeria now. It is now 700 CFA to 1,000 naira. Formerly Oji, I remember in the early 2000s, when I went to Benin and Lomé, we used to change 150 naira to 1,000 CFA. It is now 700 CFA to 1,000 naira. That's to show you how decadent our economy has been. But Nigeria is going to resuscitate. We are going to go back up. We are going to do well. Right. And we are going to eclipse and show that we are truly the giant of Africa. Oji, this country is great, and it will do well. Absolutely. We believe it, but we'll keep supporting government with our criticism. It's very important.
Refine the appetite. Dr. Abati,
okay.
The smuggling of petrol.
Well, one of the explanations for increasing fuel price in Nigeria, removing fuel subsidy, is because of the specter of smuggling. The fact that Nigeria, sells at a lower rate, and all these other countries across West Africa depend on Nigeria, and they benefit. But the big people benefiting are Nigerians themselves, who are sabotaging their countries, their own country. These are persons who have been identified as far back as 2012 by the Agimokwede committee. I don't know what happened eventually to them, because nobody was prosecuted for smuggling fuel across Nigeria. So you have grand corruption promoting the sabotage of a country, and neighboring countries benefiting from it. For what reason? For the simple reason that Nigeria is the biggest economy in West Africa. So other countries are relying on us. The question now is, we have increased, we have removed fuel subsidy. Who is looking at the details to find out how nobody manages to beat the policy? Because the biggest problem we have here is that, look, any policy you introduce in Nigeria, some people are looking for how to benefit from it. They are looking for how to cheat the system. They are looking for how to game the system. So, yes, if there is agony in Cameroon where Okada riders are saying cost of transportation will go up, well, that's their own country. They can deal with their own issues. But Nigeria has a responsibility to protect its own national interests. But why I said, who is going to cheat the system? Where the challenge is. That's where the challenge is. After all, we close borders to increase rice production, to support Nigerian farmers. Did it work? Right? At the end of the day, what did Nigeria benefit from that? So when these policies are introduced, there is more rigorous thinking that is required. That's one. Number two, you talked about CMG vehicles to be introduced and all that. I made a point earlier on. This is not the first time. In 2012, the government of the day then, in fact, through the, is it the TIB? The Infrastructure Bank, put in about 16 billion naira to make buses available. And these buses were given to RTN, NURTW, ABC Motors, some other, transportation companies. Nobody paid back the loan. Where are those buses today? So this thinking that one size fits every solution may not also work. They can bring those CMG vehicles. How will those vehicles be distributed? What is the guarantee that those vehicles will work? And are they going to put those buses on the road free of charge? Of course they will not. And who are the people who will manage it? So it's not enough to just throw these ideas into the open like that. We need more rigorous thinking as we address this challenge. What all of us can agree upon is that, look, the fuel subsidy regime is unsustainable. But how do you manage it? How do you make it easier? Who is thinking about multimodal transportation system?
Well, that is the point. That is the actual point. But all these things we're complaining about is the Nigerian factor. Those are great ideas. All economies work on great mass transport scheme, and that is what they need to do. It's just a Nigerian factor. We need to pay our loans, we need to manage it better, but it is a fantastic idea, and private sector investment is what we need to help cushion this effect of petrol subsidy.
I just really want to say just one thing. When is the train going to start working in Lagos?
That's
because that's
point
the thing
too.
that will cushion the effect.
That
That train that they launched that time, that train is important.
Those are all great ideas. Well, in another development, the outgoing Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, at a valedictory session organized for the 9th House in Abuja said young people in the country have lost faith in Nigeria and are choosing to seek their fortunes and their future in other countries. Gbajabiamila, who will assume a new office next week as the Chief of Staff to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, urged the executive and legislative arms of government to act fast to check the mass exodus of youth from the country, stating that they must restore faith in young people or risk the unforgiving judgment of history. I would like to come to you on the story, but there was a House member who said during that session that I hope that you also replicate what you're saying in your new venture, because really, but a lot of Nigerians have reacted to this story. Let me just take a few. This person wrote, "It's almost too late. Oh well, if they want to regain the faith of the youth, they need to restore hope through proper accountability and transparency of governance. You can't tell people to suffer now and enjoy later when they can't see what is in store for them in the future." Well, Ghost of Lagos, I mean, he had a lot of tweets and he talked about crime, he talked about corruption, and he also talked about electricity. He wrote, "This should be number one. Give us electricity. Something as little as 24 hours electricity has drawn many Nigerian youth to Ghana. Talk less of foreign countries, as basic as these things are. I haven't spoken of pensions, quality, salaries, job security, and investment." He also talked about strikes in our institution, the tertiary institution, which demoralizes us before graduating to a society where jobs will most likely not be given on merit, but on who we are connected to. Ayo, over to you.
All right. Thank you for this story. I'm very interested because obviously it talks about young people and the potential of young people. The Speaker of the House of Representatives hasn't spoken out of turn. He stated the obvious, and I'm glad that he included it in his valedictory speech yesterday during the valedictory session. And rightly said, Oji, that was one of the first things that came to my mind, that he's going to be Chief of Staff next week. He's going to resume office fully. And so he has the ears of the President. And so he has quite, considerable powers to ensure that he's able to make a difference. So let me speak to what perhaps Nigerian young people would benefit from in this new administration. And bear in mind that throughout his campaign and during his inaugural speech, the President did emphasize that he was going to include young people in this particular administration in his tenure. So he's spoken very well, but it's beyond the speaking. We've had past leaders who have spoken about young people, especially during elections, but that's where it ended. It's just a talk shop, not a lot of action back in it. So what do young people want? We're very easy. I mean, young people in Nigeria are very easy. Just give them good, quality of life, and they would be happy. Yes. Nigerians want to stay back. According to a recent poll by Africa Polling, that said 73% of young people polled wanted to migrate. Personally, I think the figures would be higher, because if you speak to a number of young people, they're looking for the next option to Japa. That's the word that was very popular last year. Japa means they want to escape, migrate to another country. Quality of life. You already said, the last tweet you read said a number of things you mentioned. Education, good education. Can we spend the number of time in the universities to, as it's been recommended? Yes. Number two, don't kill our young people. We look at security. When we look at security, we talked about the whole, NSAS, how young people are targeted because of certain, obvious dressing or so. Can we end that? Can we protect our young and not eat our young? Can we ensure that despite the way you look, despite what whether you have dreads or not, you're protected? Then small businesses. Look at the effects of small and micro businesses. Young people in Nigeria are innovative. Look at the tech startups. Many of them are young people in Nigeria. Nigerian young people are very hardworking. They are diligent. We have the can-do spirit. That is why when they eventually migrate, they make it. They're successful. And so when you see stories like that you have an enabling environment to make you thrive, then you want to move away. So can the President create an enabling environment for our young people to thrive? Engage the young people, and when you engage them, carry out their recommendations and let us see and maximize and tap into one of the greatest potentials that we have, which is our young population.
Well said, Ayo. Very well said. I mean, tapping into what we need to do here in Nigeria, even talking about security at this point. You know that the story is coming as terrorists abducted many farmers in Kafin Koro and the adjoining communities in Niger State. the daughter of one of the abductees, Hope, posted a video where the terrorists were seen torturing the victims kidnapped. She said the terrorists are demanding 20 million naira and a motorbike from her family before they release her father. We're talking about youth exodus. I mean, look at this young girl crying out for Nigerians to help her out. I mean, she is waiting for her father to be released. I know Rufai, I think you did see this story. I don't know if you saw that. Your quick comment on that.
It's very sad. And here we go again. You remember the story of the train incident, how people were tortured, and we saw the videos. We want our security authorities to step on this. There's intelligence.
Yes.
They should trace that video where it's coming out from, go in there, step in there, rescue those people. And these are part of the things we're saying. You can't grow an economy with insecurity. The truth is, investors are cowards. Do you know how many investors around the world are seeing this? And it's stopping them from taking a chance on Nigeria. So this new administration must fight insecurity head on.
Absolutely.
If the system works, Nigeria will work. The reason we talk every day is that Nigeria is not working well as we speak, and we believe it can work better. At a point, Nigeria used to work.
Absolutely.
In the 70s, 80s, we had a thriving economy. You can't compare to what we have today. So this has to stop. That poor family doesn't have money for all of this.
Hope is crying out at this point. All right then, we'll take our final story in the Netherlands, where a video of a Sierra Leonean woman who was taking a walk to work in a rare encounter bumped into the Prime Minister of the country, Mark Rutte. Well, let's take a listen to their conversation before we come back for a discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to be the Prime Minister of Netherlands today whilst I was going to work. I'm so happy. Good morning, everybody.
I'm on my way to the shop to take care of my glasses. Yeah. She is on her way to her job. And then I am to my job. Yeah.
You can't believe this. It's hard to see. Walking to work in the morning with the Prime Minister.
It's a small world.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I think I'm going to have a nice day today. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
This is such an exemplary video, Dr. Abati. I heard you say you have met the Prime Minister before. I think this is amazing.
You know, on one occasion, President Jonathan was in the Netherlands, you know. And when we were there, part of the schedule was to meet with the Prime Minister. And we went in the convoy from the embassy to the place where we were to meet. And we saw one man riding bicycle to arrive. We didn't know it was the Prime Minister. We went in, and then this guy just parked his bicycle and came in, and it was Mark Rutte. In 2022, he became the longest-serving Dutch Prime Minister. It was so simple. Okay, we had that meeting, and in the course of the meeting, the Prime Minister even said, oh, he was rushing down from a school where he was teaching. Maybe he said he was teaching history or teaching social studies or whatever, you know, and we had a good encounter with him. And look at him here, walking to his office. And he was telling the Sierra Leonean that, oh, I'm going to my own job. You two are going to your own job. So these are civilized societies where there is no big man syndrome. Sometimes you are going on the road, some non-entity in Nigeria, who is not even a government official, is disturbing you. He's using siren. He has a convoy. He has a retinue of, for being nobody other than that. You don't even know the source of his wealth. And it is worse even with people who are in government. So I hope a day will come when there will be this same simplicity where we can enter buses and meet our ministers, meet governors, behaving like normal human beings. So, but in some other places, this example you have brought shows us that it is possible to be in a high position and still be a human being, and still behave like a normal person.
Nail on the head. Only yesterday we were talking about cutting the cost of governance. I mean, look at this is a huge example of that as well. I mean, if you can see, you know, one of our presidents walking on the street, how is that possible?
Let's start with the members of the House.
Let's start with the members of the House. Well, all right. I think that this is such a great video and a great way to end.
And I hope that when they invite you to come and eat, you two will not go and put convoy together.
What do you mean?
I don't even know what.
Why? She can rise to any level in Nigeria.
Who is invited her to come and eat now?
Okay, I accept that.
No, in Nigeria, they can invite you to come and eat.
No, I'm taking that blessing now. They can invite me to come and eat, but I will share.
You're a woman of the people, so you will definitely.
So you think about the people.
I will think about
Thank you,
people.
Ginika. We've got to go.
Well, all right. Thank you all for your great analysis. As always on What's Trending. Well, all right. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.